From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm David Augustine. Prime Minister Mark Carney says Canada will put additional sanctions on Russia, send more trucks to Ukraine, and contribute $2 billion to the war effort over the next year. Carney made the announcement on the 4th anniversary of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Now, the Prime Minister says these efforts are being done in collaboration with European allies he spoke with this morning.
The coalition of the willing stands with Ukraine. We're in it for the long haul. Russia is failing. The sooner they come to the table and actually participate in peace negotiations, the better it will be.
Defense Minister David McGuinty says Canada has also extended its Ukrainian military training efforts in Latvia for another 3 years. Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister says the situation in Mexico looks to be improving as some airlines resumed flights in and out of the country today. Tourists and locals were told to shelter in place after violence erupted in parts of Mexico over the weekend following the death of a notorious cartel leader. Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand says the instability varies region to region, but the situation for Canadians on the ground is broadly improving.
The long and the short of it is the situation is becoming more normalized. We should continue to see this trajectory unfolding. The situation needs to be closely monitored, as we are doing with our consular officials on the ground in Mexico.
Anand says Canadians with upcoming trips booked to Mexico should monitor the situation day by day before making decisions about traveling. A relative of the shooter in Tumbler Ridge, BC, has been accused of attempted murder.
Jacob Jan Van Rootselaar was arrested on an outstanding warrant last Thursday in Sylvan Lake, Alberta, stemming from a 2024 case in Fort McMurray. He's also been charged with 2 weapons offenses and 5 counts of failure to comply with release conditions. Multiple outlets have reported he's the brother of the killer in this month's mass shooting in Tumbler Ridge, BC. An RCMP spokesperson confirms the two are related, but would not elaborate. Jason White, The Canadian Press.
U.S. President Donald Trump is set to defend his trade and immigration agenda in his annual address to Congress amid legal setbacks and declining approval ratings. The U.S. Supreme Court recently blocked his use of emergency powers for tariffs, prompting Trump to impose new duties under a different trade law. And in entertainment, the Guess Who, Gwen Stefani, and Ella Langley are headed to Ottawa for this year's edition of Bluesfest.
She's from Texas, I can tell by
the annual music festival announced its lineup this morning with a one-day ticket pre-sale set for tomorrow. Langley headlines the night of July 17th, while Gwen Stefani takes the spotlight on July 19th. Now, Burton Cummings and Randy Bachman, who recently regained control of the band named The Guess Who after a decades-long battle, will headline a night of Canadian talent on July 19th for Ottawa's 200th birthday. The 9-day festival is set to run from July 9th to the 19th. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, Canadian long track speed skater Laurent Dubray is sounding the alarm about the lack of funding for Canadian amateur sports and the consequences it could have on the country's success at the Winter Olympics going forward. The newly minted bronze medalist noted the issue of funding was a small problem in the short term, but it could become a big one in the long term. The Toronto Raptors return home to take on the league-leading Oklahoma City Thunder to highlight tonight's NBA action. The Raptors haven't played at Scotiabank Arena since February 11th. And the WNBA has told the Players Union that it needs to get a deal in place by March 10th to start the season on time. That's according to a person familiar with the discussions who told the Associated Press about a meeting yesterday between the league and union on condition of anonymity. It was the first meeting between the sides that involved players and the league since they met at the WNBA offices on February 2nd. Now, the Toronto Tempo are set to debut this season should a CBA be ratified. From the Canadian Press, I'm David Augustine.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.